That was a screw. Oh,
That was a quick 30 seconds.
Well,
We are early by 1 minute tonight.
Like, it didn't say that it was live, and then it said it was live at the second that I took off the.
No, that's all right. Now I'm going to say one thing, Eric. I've got no chat tonight, so I don't know if things come up. Can you let me know if people come in, because I can't see if they come in
if
or
there's
not.
any questions, I'll put them up too.
I don't know what's going on with the internet lately. It seems to be StreamYard. It seems to be playing up something awful.
Yeah,
it is for me anyway.
I guess a lot of people are having problems with it. Even for the Things Network, they're having a lot of problems.
Are they really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go then. It must be StreamYard then. I'm guessing it was them anyway. So, is there anybody in the chat at the minute? I'm guessing Rita.
It says there's one, but I don't know who it is.
That'll be young Rita. That'll be young Rita, that will. Sure it will. But if there's anybody who comes in at this point, I mean, obviously, if you're not in, then you won't hear me. But if you're out there at the moment and you're watching, just if you can say hi in the chat, please.
And if
just
you
give
can
us a thumbs up or a wave or a hi or a hello, and we will reciprocate with a big hello to you all.
Yeah.
So, how are you, Tim? I'm going to go around.
Thank you. Yeah, very
you had a good week, mate?
Yeah, very good. Been investigating and it's not rained for about 2 days, so
I know it's been all right, hasn't it?
Wow,
it's been all right, and you've been out investigating. Good man, excellent.
Good 2 whole days, holy cow!
No. What rain? Yeah, it's not rained for about 2 days here. The sun was out today. It's unbelievable.
So that must be our summer.
Yeah.
When we get 2 days without rain here, it's summer.
It's still around 65 here. So.
Oh, blimey.
That's warm.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, Rita's there. Hello, Rita.
Hello, Rita.
Hiya, Wayne.
Hey, Wayne.
Oh, mate. Oh, that's not high enough. It's not high enough at all.
Is he in the plane?
I don't know.
He must be. He must be. On top of a mountain.
That's true. You don't want to listen to tonight's story, though, because that'll put him right off if he's on top of a mountain. Hiya, Nico. Let's broaden our minds. A good lad. Eric, how have you been this past week, mate?
Really busy.
I know you've been putting some photos and stuff of your equipment up. You've been really. I particularly like the what do you call it? The what do you call it ball that you made?
The run ball? Oh, this one I'm not even selling this one because I don't think I can. But this is the one I got bored with last night and did.
That's pretty cool. It's quite low, isn't it, on the old sound?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just pretty much just a light little me.
Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? When you're bored, it's fun. What they call it, a Pokemon ball, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a Pokemon ball.
I have no idea. I'm not down.
You don't need them too loud. Yeah.
No, I think it's fine, isn't it? If you're quiet enough, which you should be anyway, then you'll hear it, won't you? So I think that's pretty cool. So that's good. You carry on going, mate. You've done some really unique ones, to be honest with you, Eric.
Oh, yeah.
There's some really cool ones out there, and I like the waterproof ones that you've just done, which is fantastic.
Oh, I know. That's my favorite one so far.
I know. That's amazing.
You need waterproof in England.
You definitely need waterproof in England. Hi, Nettie.
Hi, Nettie.
Well.
That's why I made them.
Yeah, exactly. I've just got one thing to say to you, Nettie. Don't let the bastards grind you down. Don't let them get on top of you, whatever it is.
No.
Keep pushing back against it. We're all with you. So, this evening, guys, welcome to the Weird Room. And we've got a very unusual and odd one tonight. And it's one that's perplexed me for quite a few years. And it's one that's interested me for quite a few years. And recently, people have come up and they've said, look, we've got the answers to this. And we think we know what happened. But the consensus is that they don't. They just don't.
No,
Eric's not working.
No, I didn't.
They don't.
I was going to for a while there, but sorry, you finish your.
That's all right, bud. Go on. No, you're all right. Go on.
But Grizzly is promoting my stuff now, so it's going out to thousands and thousands of people.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, hopefully that'll turn the tide, won't it? That'll be good.
Yeah.
So tonight's quandary, tonight's episode, tonight's chat will be about something called the Dyatlov Pass. And the Dyatlov Pass incident is a very odd one, really. And it was the 9th of January, 1959. and there was 9 mountaineering students, but these weren't just mountaineering students. These were the top of the top. These were the creme de la creme. These were the cream. So these were people that knew exactly what they were doing and knew exactly what they were about when they were outside in the wilderness, and particularly in mountains. These guys lived for mountaineering and walking across the mountains and out into the wilderness. And they were very adept at it. They were what you would call superstars of that ilk at the time. And now a lot of people say to me, the one thing that I realised this evening is that the number, I know people say that numbers are relevant, and the number 9, as you probably noticed, and I noticed, seems to come up quite a lot. 9th of January, 9 of them, and it was 1959. So that's probably just a coincidence. I don't know. I'm not into numbers and numerical stuff, but it was just something that flagged up, and I thought that's quite interesting. So what happened? They went out and they were subject to, they were carrying out expeditions across various mountains in Russia, and what they were in the hope of doing is they were in the hope of accruing. It was an exam basically. What they were doing is they were going out, and the exam entailed them from going one point to the next point to the next point to the next point over the course of a few days. And each point that they got to, they had to radio in and give information as to where they were and what was going on. And if they didn't, then what would happen is they would send people out. They would send the military out, and they would send the mountain rescue out. It's interesting, Wayne. They would send mountain rescue out to go and recoup them, get them, bring them back. Well, anyway, they got to the first few points, and it was absolutely fine. And then they got to this point, which is interesting because this mountain pass, the Dyatlov Pass, is also called Death Mountain. Mm-hmm. Significant, I'm guessing, but for whatever reason, I guess that's lost in history. But it's just interesting that is what it was called. Out of all of those mountains and peaks in that range, this particular one was called Death Mountain. And subsequently, what they did, they didn't report in, and nobody really knew what was going on. And people started to panic and think, well, you know, these guys are well versed in what they're doing. They're all professionals. They're good at their art. Something must have gone quite bad. We need to get out there quickly. So what happened was the military got together with Mountain Rescue, and they went out there, and what they found was very, very unusual. Mm-hmm. Because what they found that the tents that these people, there was 2 tents, and the tents had been torn from the inside, like they'd been cut with a knife or a blade or something. Mm. And then they found various bodies around the tents. They were sort of semi-clad, some were sort of half naked, and they were kind of slightly torn apart, to put it nicely. That was a couple of them. Then they went further on, and they found one body up a tree. Now, the tree had great big massive claw marks on it. But the interesting point is there was no prints here of any particular animal. So I would automatically think, oh, that's a bear or something like that. But no, not at all. There was no actual paw prints or footprints there to indicate what it was. But these marks on the tree just below the body, like somebody was trying to get up the tree or climb up the tree to put the body in it. Nobody knows where there was no footprints to it. So it's interesting. Yeah. Then they followed it a bit further on because there was kind of a trail of some clothing and footmarks where the members of the actual expedition had moved further on. So it was a line. And what they did, they found an actual ice cave in the mountains. And inside this ice cave, there was several of the bodies that were sitting around in the ice cave, all dead. The males were dressed in female clothing, and some of the females were dressed in male clothing. But the interesting thing was that they noticed that their actual faces and their bodies had precision cuts on them. So there was pieces of flesh taken, there was bits of stuff taken from them, but it was done with precision. They also noticed that the bodies held quite an amount of radiation. They picked that up as well, and they couldn't work out what it was. So they picked the bodies up, and ever since then it was considered, well, you know what? We don't know what happened, but it was registered by the Russian government as death by, I think it was death by unknown species and death by not quite alien, but it was not of human. So they think they were killed by something, but not a human. But what happened was when one of the guys, one of the Russian military, went back to the office, and he looked at he looked at a lot of the information that was there from the. He noticed that there was a lot of people phoned in that there was lights in the sky. And when he worked out where the lights in the sky were and what date they were, the lights were directly above where these people were being slaughtered. And also, the lights were directly above where they were slaughtered. And all the reports came in, and it was exactly the same time. But nobody really knows why. Some people said, well, could it be aliens? Some people have said, well, it could be a Yeti. But there's been lots and lots of various scenarios and ideas as to what it could have been, but nobody really knows. It's still really a mystery. I don't know, and I still don't know. And I mean, it's one of those things that perplexed me, and I think it's the same with a lot of people out there that have got an interest in mysteries. This one seems to be resounding, and I have no idea what it is. What would you guys think? Hi, William.
Well, I do know that there was also some kind of plane or experimental plane explosion at the time that it happened. Something like that too. And they were all like experienced hikers, every single one of them.
Yeah. I mean, they were so experienced that they were renowned where they came from. They were known. They were like superstars, really. These were people that a lot of people looked up to. So these weren't just me walking out into the mountain range with a rucksack on my back. These were people that knew what they were doing. These were professionals. Missile test range nearby.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, do you know what, Nico? It perplexes me. It's very odd. But the fact that there was the thing that I can't get my head around is that there's obviously these people have been torn to pieces. They've been set up, sitting around and doing, wearing each other's clothing, sitting up in an ice cave. One of them up a tree, claw marks everywhere. Obviously been killed by something of a whatever origin, I don't know, but I'm guessing it's some form of animal. But no paw prints of the animal.
Okay, Dan. Now, since you're more experienced in animal handling, how hard would it be for a cougar to put a person up in a tree?
For a mountain lion to pull somebody up into a tree would be, it'd probably be quite. It'd be. They're powerful creatures. So I'm guessing they could easily do it.
Okay.
These things pull things like gazelles and big deer up into trees.
Yeah.
So
they don't have mountain lions. They don't have mountain lions in Russia, though, do they?
No, they do. I mean, they have big cats.
Yeah.
And in Siberia, they have sort of tigers and stuff. But I'm thinking. But the thing is, where are the paw prints?
Yeah, I know exactly what I was thinking. At the same time.
On the, they found a camera with a picture on, didn't they? A roll of film. It looked like a Bigfoot on.
Yeah,
That's the same story, yeah?
Yeah, that's it. And that's the thing. The thing is that it's... But, the thing is, I think... You know what I think? I think that these creatures, these big feet, these Bigfoots, these... Whatever you want to call them, Yetis, whatever you want to call them. I think that these are of supernatural origin. I believe that these animals are not of this dimension, that these creatures are from somewhere totally different, right? And I'm not saying alien in respect to space. I'm just talking about different dimensions within the dimension that we're sitting. And but the only thing I think that could do something like that, but not leave a paw print or a footprint, would surely have to be. I mean, it would definitely. It's.
Yeah.
The snow could have covered the prints, though, couldn't it? If it had snowed quite hard.
No, because the footprints of the people were still there.
Oh, right, okay.
So there was plenty of footprints because they used the footprints to track the bodies all the way from the tents to the ice cave. Obviously, with the tree in between, with the bodies around it and the body up it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're right, Eric. If it were a big cat, then it probably would drag its kill. A tiger wouldn't drag its kill up a tree, but certainly something like a leopard would. But as Tim says, you don't really get them in that part of the world. So I don't know. Has it been a body?
Well, and then again, like you said, it would go back to footprints too. I mean, there would have to be. The only thing that doesn't make many footprints, like you said, is a Yeti or a Bigfoot or a Dogman, because that's why you only find like one or two in the spot when people find them. So.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is as well that they were saying that there was precision surgical cuts on these bodies that were made. I mean, the cuts from what they were saying were like, you know, amazing, surgical. And there was skin and flesh and bits of body removed. But an animal wouldn't do that. No. I mean, an intelligent something with high intelligence would.
I mean, technically, not even a Yeti or Bigfoot would do that either. So it had to be something else. But then again, it could have been something after the fact. You know, like something killed them, and then something came along and cleaned up. You know, did that kind of stuff.
It's a possibility. It's a possibility. I mean, but it just perplexes me. And the fact that there was a high radiation reading from the bodies was quite interesting because
and the whole area
there's nothing radioactive around there.
And it still has radiation in the area.
Yeah.
Not much, but it still does.
It's odd. It's odd. And they were saying, you know, they even checked with other military, you know, other units in the military to see if they've been carrying out exercises at that particular juncture, that particular point, above where these campers were. And they came back in the negative. No, we've been nowhere near it. Eyes and tongues. Even one of them had bit their own finger off, apparently. Yep. Eyes and tongues removed. Yeah, it's just a very, very intriguing and interesting thing. I mean, you know what? I've got to the point now where I'm thinking, and I know it's out there, and I know it sounds off the wall and crazy and what have you, but I think that I've got to the point now where I'm thinking that these creatures, these Bigfoot, these Dogmen, and everything else, that they are something entirely different from what people perceive them to be. Like, for example, you've got people coming out now that are saying these are just ordinary people that have been around the mountains and woodlands and forests forever, hunters and what have you, and they're saying that they've had almost like a telepathic communication between them and these creatures, that they've had them talking into their heads. These aren't nutters. These are like ordinary people. And another example that a guy said the other day, which interested me, and this will interest you as well, Tim, I think. One guy said that him and his son-in-law, they worked together. They were out in the Appalachians, and they came around a bend in the Appalachians on a mountain. And to the left, the father wasn't driving, the son-in-law was driving. And to the left, he looked and he saw something kneeling down. And then he said to the son-in-law, "What on earth is that?" And they looked, and then all of a sudden, this thing stood up, and he went, "This thing must have been, if it was an inch, it was like 10, 11 feet tall." He said it was as broad as a barn.
Oh, Nick Clark.
And and he said, and what it did is it stood there and it looked at us. We slowed down and stopped, and it looked at us, and we carried on looking at it. He said, but the thing that got me is that it then bent down into a fetal position, right? Turned into a ball of light and shot off.
I've heard of that happening too.
So I'm thinking all of these balls, a lot of people are saying, well, I see balls of lights in the wood, you know, in the forests and the woods, even over here, you know, where we're starting to experience things like people are saying they're seeing Bigfoots and Dogmen over here. Even over here, people are saying, well, you know, I see these balls of lights in the wood. A friend of mine saw a ball of light in the wood and it chased them down the road. And this was in Epping. So it makes me wonder what these things actually are. And I think these things are spiritual. I think they're spiritual. And I wonder if they're guardians. You know? Hello. And I wonder if they're guardians. Got your favourite shirt on. But I don't know. It's just one of those subjects that... But the more I think about it, and the more I think of how elusive these creatures are, some people have even said, you know, these things can shapeshift. Not that they're shapeshifters in the sense that they're, you know, skinny guys, as Catherine calls them, because she doesn't like using the proper word, and neither do I. But because they can change into people, like, I can change into anything. So you could be seeing people out in the woods that you think are people that might not be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's
like, where does it go?
It's leading towards the Fae again, isn't it?
Leading towards the Fae. And people have said that they've seen these things turn into go down the grade. So they've gone one thing to another thing to another thing,
Yeah.
to the point where they've become a rabbit. Well, you know who else
Yeah.
turns into rabbits? The Fae turn into rabbits,
Yeah.
according to legend and myth. So I
Yeah.
think this is all connected to that, you know.
Yeah.
I should have saved that one. There's
But
this
it's
one
interesting.
audio that I've heard that it sounds like a baby crying. Now, most of us in paranormal field think shapeshifter, something like that. But
Yeah, yeah. And I think the reason we're seeing more of them is because obviously what's happening is people are moving more and more into their territories.
oh yeah, absolutely.
You know, and if I was thinking, you know, it's like paganism. If you think about paganism, when the origins of paganism, you're going back when this religion started thousands of years ago, when everything was woodlands and forests. But what did we do? We tore the woodlands and forests down over time, so we now only have a small populace of woodland or rural area, or should I say, wilderness, where there used to be lots of it. And of course, thousands of years ago, people used to adhere to these beings. They used to worship them and treat them like they were gods and goddesses and guardians of the wilderness, because everything was wilderness. So they would see them at that point. They would be around them all the time.
Yeah.
What's that? But why would that change swap clothes? I could understand if one died and the others took their clothes to keep warm, but it doesn't sound like that. No. And I think what it is, Lorna, I think that whoever dressed them or tried to dress them didn't know how people dressed.
Well, no, what I think it is that the military got in there, had to clean up, make everything look right. So they just dressed them with whatever they could find.
No, they were dressed when they found them.
Well, I know, but I mean, I'm telling you that people that they did find with different clothes on, I think somebody came in, dressed them that way because they didn't, like you said, didn't know how they should be dressed, or did it so fast that they didn't care.
Yeah, but a human would know how they would dress. They'd know how a woman dresses different from a man, or vice versa. But this was like they'd been dressed by somebody that had no idea what clothes were meant for. Are you guys? So it just perplexes me. I don't think that's the case, to be honest, Eric. I think that whatever dressed them had no idea of what clothes were meant to be.
Yeah.
You know, or they didn't, you know, maybe they had a general idea that, oh, this goes over the legs and that goes over the head and the arms go through that, but not really knowing. Oh, you know, I don't know. But the thing is, you must be so. Some people said, could it be magic mushrooms that they've eaten out there? I don't think so. Because these people knew exactly what they were doing. That. These are professionals. They know what they're doing. They're not going to take anything like that.
Not only that, you can't find mushrooms in that temperature anyways. Nothing grows in that temperature.
No. There's lots of different scenarios. I think what it is people just they're trying to pluck straws in the hope that they're going to get the right answer. And of course, when there's no answer, it's like Sherlock Holmes, isn't it? When there's no answer, whatever you've left with is generally the answer.
Yeah.
But the fact that the Russian government turned around and said that, you know, this is death by non-terrestrial or non-human, it kind of, and that's it. It's kind of left open at that. Could have been these people from the hills have eyes. Right, good.
Yeah, that's scary film.
It could have been.
But no, all the crap that Russia goes through, imagine there's something out there.
There is, but I guess in that sort of wilderness, people wouldn't survive unless they were, you know, unless there was like a tribe of people that were out there, and you'd know about them by now. But yeah, it's just interesting. But people, the fact that Yeti came up, and as you said, Tim, I think there was a camera found with a photo in it that.
Yeah, one picture. I think it's one picture.
Yeah,
with the shadowy.
Yeah.
I think it was on a YouTube video. I saw it. A YouTube video the other week. Actually, I was looking at it, and it looked like a Bigfoot.
No, exactly. And how? Yeah, exactly. Irradiation, but where's that come from? Where's the radiation come from?
Well, that could have been the missile testing part of it, but you know,
I read somewhere that there was a small in 1957. There wasn't a reactor leak or something. I don't know. Nearby.
There's always reactors.
I do know they found metal parts that were radiated in the area. So, you know.
But also the surgical precision that they remove parts of the skin and the bodies with.
Mm.
And as you know, as Nico said, tongues were gone, eyes
Yep.
were gone. These things were just plucked out. They were not even plucked out. They were cut out. Precision.
That's weird.
It's weird, isn't it? But
Yeah,
all
it
there
is.
to me is no footprints. Apart from the footprints of the people that they found,
Mm-hmm.
which were all over the place, there was no footprints of the perpetrator. Which is, it just, you know, these things don't, as far as I know, things don't float around.
They don't know. They
From the
think
last
it was.
photo.
They think there was some guy either
Not sure, Rob.
or dressed in like, you know, the furry winter hat and the coat and stuff like that, or it was
Yeah.
Bigfoot or Yeti or whatever. But you know, compared to the tree that it was standing against, if I'm looking up a hill and looking at that person, had to be at least good 7-8 feet tall. So
Yeah. It's big.
Yeah, which goes to prove a point, doesn't it? There's a lot more in this world that we can even begin to scratch on.
Yeah.
You know, we're never going to get to the answers of some of these things unless somebody comes. I mean, somebody out there, as I say, somebody.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Somebody out
yes,
there.
he did. Well, and so did Nick did a thing on it too a while ago. But yeah, it was really good, and that's what got me interested into looking into all the details. And like I said, Josh, not our Josh, but Josh, I forget his last name now, did a TV show on it. Yeah, Gates did a TV show on it. He went out there, actually did their own investigation. So
Yeah, he travels globally,
I
doesn't he?
saw that. I did see that. Yeah, it's interesting.
It is interesting, and I think obviously it's not just me who's been sort of thrown by it and perplexed by it, but I think there's like a massive community of people out there that just can't get their head around this one particular mystery.
And part of the funny thing is, if you do it by avalanche, there'd be more cover up of the avalanche on the bodies. I mean, if you're seeing anybody get trapped in an avalanche,
it
covers them completely.
Yeah.
And only two people had damaged skulls and crushed bones. Only two.
And the
It
fact
wouldn't take the eyes out, though, would it?
No.
One.
And
an avalanche.
And what would make you panic to the point that you're cutting out of the tent rather than going out the entrance?
Yeah.
You're cutting out through it with a knife or a blade. What makes you panic to that point where you think I've got to get away from this, whatever it is? I don't know, but it's just an intriguing one. You know, don't know. I haven't got an answer to it, really.
Well, that's
apart from the fact that
you don't have an answer to them.
No, and I just, I mean, what do you got? I mean, what do you reckon? What do you reckon? I mean,
no idea.
No,
it just leads off down rabbit holes, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting. It is interesting. It'd be good to try and find out if people still walk that pass, and if people have had experience like after that, or even prior to that, if people have had any experiences there.
Yeah, I'm not completely sure because Russia has pretty much closed down to everybody that wants to go out there now. But as far as I know, the place that they were found was near a military site, and the Russian government took over that whole area next to their site. So,
see, that's another bag of worms, isn't it? I mean, military site could mean anything. Military site could mean experiments. There could be certain things that they're mucking around with. I mean, I wouldn't put it past the military, any military, or global complex to be buggering about with dimensions and God knows what, and using
we already have. Look at America here. Well, actually, it was the Hydrogen Collider is in Switzerland, but they've already opened a portal. They say so.
Apparently, they're building one in America that's going to be like 5 times the size of the one in Switzerland.
Yep.
So, what are they trying to do? I don't know, but I've got a funny feeling that if they're not careful, it's gonna end us.
And that's the problem with science in general. I know I do my own stuff, but if you're going to push the envelope, you're going to push it all the way to find out the answers. And that can get you in a lot of trouble.
Yeah. I mean, they admit themselves, a lot of these scientists, these are theories. So when they're working on a theory and they're trying to make it practical, they
Mhm.
don't know what's going to happen at the end of it. They theorize they do, but anything could happen.
Yeah.
You know, we don't know what damage they've done already. You know, we don't know what damage they've done already, buggering about with things like the Hadron Collider.
Yep, disinformation.
Yeah.
And they're going to,
Oh,
and they don't. And I'll tell you why. And I know people have a lot of problems with the government. Yes, you can have problems with the government keeping information from you, but they do it for a reason. So you don't have mass panic.
I don't think they've got the right to withhold information like that.
They don't.
I don't think they have any right to hold information like that from the public.
They don't.
Because at
But
the end
they
of
do it for
the
that
day,
reason.
I mean, I think, you know, not getting into it too much, but I think that as members of a populace, we're sold a lie
Mhm.
that we're told, you know, the government work for us. They don't work for us. They've never worked for us.
No,
That's
they
never
haven't.
been the case. They give the illusion. It's like voting, isn't it? It's an illusion.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean a thing, does it, voting?
Mhm.
Because you're
No,
going to
they're
get
all
the
the
same crap in whatever name they've got.
Yeah.
They're all there pulling the strings for their own benefits.
Well, yeah, it's because here,
Thank
I don't know
me.
about over there, but here it's the electoral college that decides everything. So,
Yeah, and a prime example now is governments don't rule the world anymore, do they? Great multinational companies are the ones that run this
the
world.
bigs rule the world.
You know, I mean, you got things like, you know, like the medicine industry that are calling the shots on what happens and what doesn't. You know.
Well, not only that, you know who runs the banks and who runs the medical facilities and all that's taxing everybody. It's the Illuminati.
Well, you've also got people like what's his name? Bill Gates.
Yep, he's part of the
I mean,
Illuminati.
you know, the guy worked with computers. What all of a sudden made him a leading authority on you know, epidemics?
Mm.
Well, I don't think I know. You know, as far as I was concerned, the guy was selling computers, but he made
Yeah.
enough money so that he could start dictating terms to the world.
Yeah,
Exactly, Nitty, exactly. but these are the people that are holding on to the information that, by rights, should be in the public arena. You know, but I think they undersell the public. I think that they feel that if they announced it, there'd be a mass panic. Yeah, exactly, Nicola. I think what they say is always going to be a mass panic. Well, to be honest with you, if they said to me there's aliens coming down in the morning, I'll be honest with you, it wouldn't make a spot of difference to me.
Oh yeah,
No,
but that's you, me, and everybody else, and pretty much.
We
in
know
our field.
already.
Yeah, I don't
But
think
you
people
get
care anyway.
you get these young people that have no idea what's going on in the world. All of a sudden, they know that Bigfoot can kill you, Dogman can kill you, aliens are coming. That's going to cause mass panic and a lot of problems. But
Yeah, well, it's like anything, isn't it? You know, what is real and what isn't. Look
Yep.
at the Rockefellers who are back in both sides. Yeah, exactly, Robert.
They're big
Exactly.
things.
Exactly.
Hi, Jamie.
It's called hedging your bets. Hi, Jay.
Holy cow.
But what's Nico saying? I'm pretty sure I've seen changes in the world Mandela effect and they seem to coincide with the events in the Hadron Collider. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. Possible realities breaking down and memories form those other realities bleeding into my current reality. Do you know, I've experienced things where people have said to me, oh, such and such died, or I've thought someone's died and it turns out they hadn't. And I thought, well, hang on. I thought they died. I remember something about them dying, or, you know, and it turns out that they hadn't, or people that hadn't died, you know, or people that have died. I didn't. It's mad. It's
Every
mad.
time. You know how we talk about every time everything works on vibration? Every time your vibration shifts from one spectrum to the other, just a hair, you're automatically in a different reality than what you were in before.
I'll tell you what, it makes me wonder when you talk about the Mayan calendar and stuff like that. I'm going back to 2012. You know what? When they said, well, you know, there's going to be a shift. Has there been?
Yeah, there's been several times.
Not the shift that we thought. Everybody thought this meant, like, you know, cataclysmic events and the world voting and that.
But things are different.
I think it meant a dimensional shift.
Yep.
Maybe. I'm only guessing, you know, and it's, you know, it's by the way now. And people go, oh, well, nothing happened, did it? And I'm starting to think, well, didn't it? Didn't it happen or did it happen? I'm not sure. But it's and then you don't know what information you've been sold that's a duff piece of information. You don't know. You know, it's like you're trying to trudge through the chaff, and it gets thicker and harder and deeper, and then in the end you get lost. But yeah, you just got to keep going, don't you? Really, and try and keep your head above it. Look at the Triumph motorbike; it's a jump. Yeah,
Yep.
I know. It's mental.
Well, a
Absolutely
lot of
mad.
things were made in Germany before America, so
But it's I don't know, it's crazy. But that's what makes me wonder about these. I don't know. You know, you got a lot of these Illuminati and what have you, call them whatever you want to call them. You got a lot of these bodies now that are actually been. I mean, what's it? What's that grove in America where all the presidents and that go? Bohemian Grove with the owl. They
yeah, I know
worship
what
the
you're
owl
talking
there, don't
about.
they?
I can't remember it. And I'm American.
Yeah, Bohemian Grove. Yeah, they
Yeah.
worship the owl and stuff there, and all the American presidents that have been there, and lots and lots of like the shakers and the that those type of people have all been present there, and they have rituals there and all these sorts of things, and even CERN. There was footage put out about CERN when there was a body of scientists outside it wearing cloaks, carrying out what could only be described as some form of spell work.
Yep.
Wow.
And then they turned around and said, "Oh no, that was just them having a laugh." And initially, I thought, "Yeah, it probably is," but then you start thinking, "I don't know anymore. I don't know what
No.
they're doing. What are they up to?" They were looking for a God particle. What are they hoping to find? What are they hoping to disclose with this stuff?
Well, they did find the guy. They
It's
did
about
find the guy.
control, isn't it? It's about control, though, isn't it?
Mhm.
Do you remember that, Nicola? Yeah,
No.
it makes you wonder what on earth is going on.
Well off. Yep.
Yeah.
And they did find that particle, by the way, a few years ago, 10 years ago.
I think they found other stuff as well. To be honest.
Oh,
with
yeah,
you.
I'm sure they did. Because once you find the God particle, is the particle that makes everything. And
What
in this
interested me
world, so
is that the whole thing about evolution now. I mean, it was considered right. This is a done argument. This is it. This is what we evolved from. This is the case. This was science. This was where we are, and that's it. And it was unmovable. It was an unmovable answer. Evolution, nothing.
Yep.
And now they're thinking, hang on, we're not so sure anymore.
I'm sorry, I didn't
We're
know.
not sure. The Big Bang Theory. Now they're thinking, no, they didn't happen like that. They're
Nope.
questioning it. So these immovable thoughts and these immovable ideas that they had that were set in stone for ever since as long as I can remember. Now all of a sudden in the last couple of years, no, it didn't happen like that. No, we got that wrong.
You talk about evolution, okay? You think that evolution from even in just animals, right? Okay. How is this evolution?
Well, yeah. It's just I don't know. It's mad, isn't it? It's mad. I don't know. It's crazy. The whole point of evolution, as well as far as I was concerned, is that something evolves from something to the point that it is at today, and we aren't the finished article. That give it another few million years, and we'll evolved into something else. But by that time, we won't be around anymore. How comes there's still great apes? Shouldn't they be extinct now? Shouldn't they have fell by the way? I mean, I don't know. It's just odd.
Then they reboot. Yeah. And
the Great Flood is something that's very interesting.
Yeah. The scientists have been talking about another reboot coming too. So
yeah, the Great Flood. It's true, isn't it? And another thing as well, if you look at the Bible, if you pick the Bible up, you look at the Bible, and people go, "Oh, it's all stories and it's all that." But it's amazing how many of them stories have got relevance to them.
Oh yeah.
It's amazing how much truth is actually in that book.
They found Noah's ship. They found Dead Sea Scrolls. They found Jesus's grave. So all of them are backed up by historic facts.
Somebody said something the other day which I found quite interesting. They were talking about Gilgamesh.
Yeah,
and Nimrod. And those two beings were gods.
Yep.
Not gods, but they were Nephilim.
Yep.
They were kings. And they were giants. So I think Gilgamesh was something like 15 feet tall.
Yep.
And they said that he was buried in this particular river. And they knew where he was, and they found where he was. Right? This is the interesting thing. And it blew me away. And I'm thought to myself, I'd never thought of that. and the American government had found out where he was buried. They worked it out, location, everything else.
Yep.
Right. Then it dried up, and people started. Somebody privately found out where it was as well. They worked it out. They started digging, and what happens next? Right. This is in Iraq. The next thing you know, war.
Yep.
The American government and British government go into Iraq, and what they do is they then throw anybody out who's digging by that river, and they dig it themselves. So people are now questioning, was that war about oil, or was that about something else more biblical in its nature? So it's and these are Nephilim, these are the children of humans and the fallen angels. These are sort of divine creations between a human and a fallen angel. It will cause more panic with the surprise shock if they do appear unexpectedly to us normal folks. Do you know what, Nick? I bet you'd be surprised. I bet you think, you know what? I'll probably guess that.
Well, and Lorna's right, too. That's why they've been leaking us information very slowly over so many years. I mean, think about it. I've only been alive since Reagan. And ever since Reagan on, even Obama has said aliens.
Yeah, it's an odd one, isn't it? It's an odd one. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's like, it just interests me. But look that up if you can, because it's amazing how that the Iraq War happened, that the Americans and British went in there right on the cusp of them digging up what they believe to be the burial site of Gilgamesh, which they believe can be brought back.
Well, going back on the original subject, I'm thinking that Bigfoot, Dogman, anything that is really tall, like 8, 10, 12, 15 feet.
Yeah.
Are they the offspring of these Nephilim or giants?
I do wonder that myself. There's something very special about them, whatever it is. Somebody came out the other day and said that you'd be surprised. That, I don't know where they got the information from, but they said that you'd be surprised. They said because the purest form of human would be a Sasquatch.
Yep.
I don't know. It all ties in together, which I find intriguing and interesting. But sometimes I have to walk away because I think I'll go off my head. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like sometimes it's a break. I think I can't be.
Yeah, it can hurt your brain.
Oh, it can, all credit to people that do it full time and go out there and try and find this information and disclose it to the public, because they're stronger individuals than I had ever be, because I couldn't do that. I couldn't stay the course with it. It'd send me off my head.
Yeah.
But it is, from a layman's point of view, like us guys, it's just, and a hobbyist, it's just really interesting.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And you do have to question these things. I think life is about questioning these things. What's that Nico says? Nostradamus said World War III would start. He did, yeah. Yep. In the Middle East, US soldiers claimed to have thought with a red. Yes, I heard that. Giant in Iraq and US air bases in the Middle East are currently being buzzed by fleets of unknown drones. Do you know what interesting about that thing in Iraq about the giants? They found a lot of giant bones in Iraq and around that area that they think could be Nephilim bones.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, and what happened to a lot of the bones that they found in places like Turkey? I guess it was Turkey, I think, and other places sort of around Eastern Europe and what have you, and even in America. What happened to those bones? The what's the American Museum? The big, what they call the?
Oh my gosh. I don't know what it's called. You're asking me historical questions.
Oh no, I can't think what the museum's called. The American big. Guys, anybody can remember the name of the big American museum out there?
No, I don't know what it is.
I can't remember what it is.
Smithsonian, that's right. That's what it is.
What is it? Smithsonian. Thank you, Nico.
Thank you.
Smithsonian, they took it into storage, and then when people went to go and see it, they said, no, it doesn't exist. And then the Smithsonian subsequently have been found to be hiding an awful lot of stuff that is relevant to the history of this planet.
I do know
because
the
they don't
London
want you seeing it.
though, I do know the London one though claims to have a Bigfoot finger. So
Yes, I think there's monks in Tibet that they claim to have a big skull cap, don't they, and a skull. But
Yep.
be interesting to see whether it's, you know, I don't think they ever let it out because it's sacred. I think they treat
Yeah,
it
I
as such,
think it's-
which is interesting. If they treat it as sacred for like a religious order, that says beats volumes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Really?
What do these people
You
think
know?
is going to happen when? Because the government's already said many, many times, and I don't care what anybody else says, it's going to happen. That there's aliens. We have evidence of this. There are more coming. You know, it's going to be coming out eventually. What do you think these aliens are going to tell us? All the stuff that we've been talking about is true. Bigfoot, Dogman.
Thing is, with the best will in the world, they can't sit on it forever, can they?
No.
You know, a Smithsonian receipt for the bones does exist, though. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you know what? A lot of people know, Nico, that they've got them bones, but they'll sit on them and say, "No, we haven't got them."
Yep.
And they've
There's
done
even
that not
some-
just with them bones; they've done it with other artifacts as well. People
Yep.
think they've got stuff that's mentioned in the Bible,
Yep.
but
I
they
think
won't.
they
They
have.
won't let anybody go near it.
Oh, what is that? Not the cup of Christ. It's the.
Oh, the chalice, which is the
Yeah, but they have the
Holy
chest.
Grail.
The chest that was supposed to hold the
what was that, Tim?
stone.
Holy Grail.
Holy
the
Grail,
Holy
yeah,
Grail. Yep.
which is meant to be the cup of Christ. Some people say it's other stuff, don't they? There's lots of different
Mm.
ideas as to what the Holy Grail is.
Well, Monty Python found that, didn't
Yeah, that was a great
Oh,
film.
I
Wasn't it?
love Monty Python.
That was a brilliant film.
It's one of my all-time favorite.
Fucking love the. I love Monty Python. I'll talk about the Bible around different groups lately. Yeah, yeah, because people are starting to notice it all seems to be coming from the origin of that book, of the Bible, the book. So I don't know, man. There's an awful lot. I don't know.
Well, I've even heard people say that, you know, when they said that don't follow Jesus, the Bible says, you know, they're misinterpreting it. You're supposed to be like Jesus. You're supposed
Yes.
to have that
Yeah.
ability.
Yes,
Which
yeah.
means the evolution of humankind into a higher plane.
Yeah.
They have a pair of my undies as well.
Is
I was
that-
going to
is
give
that
them a
supposed
pair
to
of
be a
mine, Nico, but they
mystery?
said they're too early. We're big enough to store them. Mine's got the magic skid marks as well.
Monty Python.
Oh, Monty Python, man, that's brilliant. I was watching it the other day, where he goes up to the castle. Go away, you can nick.
It's knits. Yeah.
You can
Cool,
nick.
that's cool.
Gonna build a shrubbery.
Brilliant here. Oh, that's cool, Nico.
That is cool.
His grandparents were background artists in the films.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
That is very
cool.
cool. Very cool. But yeah, it's the Smithsonian, I think, has got a lot to answer for, and a lot of them haven't they? But I don't know. I don't know. What do you do? They're only going to tell you what they want you to know, and you know what? We think we're pulling the strings. People think that they're, you know, oh, I've got the right to vote. We'll change the whole face of politics by voting for this bloke or that bloke. They're all the same.
yeah.
All the same, you know. But I do wonder.
There
I
might
actually
be
wonder if. What was that, Tim? Sorry.
There might be another government above the government.
Oh, there is.
I think there
That's it.
probably
Yeah.
is. What was the old saying? If you can name the people that are in charge, they're not the ones that are in charge.
Yeah.
You know, which is it rings true, doesn't it? Really.
Yeah.
You know what? Most people, and we're all the same. Just want a quiet life. You know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
yeah.
it's, you know, it depends on which way you want to go. Do you want to know everything, or do you want just a peaceful, calm life?
Yeah, and I think most people want a nice, peaceful, calm life. And I think up until the last few years, people have been having that. But what you're seeing now, you're seeing a lot of what you call big government, which is they're not happy now to sit there and pass bills and that. They want to dictate to you how you live your life.
Yep.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, the way things have gone, it's a lot of it smacks of just out and out communism at the minute.
Yeah.
It's a case of you do this and I'll tell you to do that. And if you don't do it, you're fucked.
Mm.
Following their footsteps up in a few moves. That's cool. Oh, Nico, that's cool.
Ah,
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, Truman Show. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
us. Ooh.
Even what's his name? The guy in that Geary. Have you
Yeah, Jim Carrey.
have you seen
Jim
him
Carrey.
lately?
Yeah.
You seen him lately?
You know,
He's
I
proper
know.
woke.
You know why?
He's proper
Because
woke up to it.
he left Hollywood because Hollywood is corrupt. And he's like, I can't take it
He's
anymore.
sick of them.
Yep,
Sick
got
of
sick
them.
of them.
And he said, "You seen the film True? Yeah." He's
Yeah,
and
that's it.
look at the government. It started off with 20 billion now. Yeah, exactly, Rab, exactly, mate, exactly. Yet they can still find billions to give away to wars.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
You know, you still find, but we're not allowed to say that in this country because you're liable to get taken away and locked up for it.
Mhm.
I'm not even joking the way things are at the minute.
People have disappeared in the past all the time.
Oh, it's happening a lot over here, mate. I tell you, it's gone mental over here underneath this lot. But yeah, most people just want a quiet life. But when they start dictating terms to you and telling you how you should live your life, then I think it's time to turn around and start kicking back.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why you guys have got the amendment, Second Amendment.
Yeah, and the problem with that is that the government has bigger and better guns.
They do, but I do often think to myself, a lot of these military, 99% of the military are ordinary working class people.
Yeah.
Ordinary people. And then I don't think they would turn on their own. And I do wonder how many of them would turn on the government.
Mm-hmm.
Because it says, doesn't it, you're allowed to pick up arms against even, was it foes and enemies, even homegrown and...
Yeah, it's to keep the government from having tyranny over you. Well, you know what? I can tell you exactly what that means.
Makes me laugh when you got a lot of them saying, well, that's outdated, I think.
How I can tell you what it is?
Oh, you got it. Oh, that's cool.
Not the original one. Just
that'd be worth. Imagine how much that's worth.
You make funny noise. I can't even read it. It's so bad cursive though. Dissolve the and okay. When in the House of Human Events, it becomes necessary for the people to dissolve the official government. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So you can kick, if it gets out of hand, you can have you can pop the government. Well, we've got a set of guidelines like that called the Magna Carta.
Yeah.
So people say, well, you know, England haven't got a Second Amendment. Well, they kind of have got. They've got the amendment of the Magna Carta, which all laws in the Western world are built upon. But unfortunately, the government won't adhere to it. But you know, what can you do? Well, I know what's going to happen at some point if they carry on. Look at the miners' strike. Yeah, absolutely, Rab. Absolutely. I bought a good book on that actually, the miners' strike.
Yep.
Poll tax riots, wasn't there?
Poll tax riots, yeah. I think it gets to a point where people go, you know what, enough is enough, you know.
Yeah.
Well, and then my most shocking, probably not the most shocking I'll ever hear, but my most shocking is a TV tax or a TV bill that you have, or a license that you have to have.
Oh, yeah, that's a rip-off, really. Because you've got a lot of people that pensioners have to pay it, which is disgusting.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it is the BBC, yeah. Which, to be honest, they were a great station in the 30s and 40s and 50s, 60s, even 70s, but they're crap now. They're just ridiculous now. They're government run, aren't they? So,
yeah.
Again, you know, sit down, be quiet, eat your food, drink your milk, and shut up.
Yeah.
That's what it seems to be now. But you know, I don't condone violence. I abhor violence, but I can understand when people resort to it and when they get kicked enough.
Well, I believe a person should be able to own guns if they are trained, licensed, and are normal. You know, no felonies, no whatever. You're fine. That's here. I know there you can't have them at all, but
yeah, our rights to those got removed in. I think it was the 80s. We had the Hungerford, wasn't it?
Hungerford. Yeah, I used to shoot full bore handgun.
There you go. And I remember years ago, My brother was a member of a shooting club, and he used to have
They
a
give us
couple of pistols.
compensation and took them away, and then now all the criminals got them instead.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. That's the thing. Well, you can't have these because if you have one of these and we license them, you could kill somebody with it. So that all ends up underground, doesn't it?
Yeah.
See, the problem with that is that here that actually happens. 18-year-old kid, never had a felony, never had a criminal record, goes out and buys a gun and then starts shooting up a school.
I know. Well, it's over here. I mean, there's people are using guns more than over here, but it tends to be knife crime mainly, doesn't it,
Yeah.
Tim?
Yeah.
Over here. And it's so sad because these are youngsters.
It's
like, what are you doing with your lives?
It's not the tool, is it? It's the mind of the person.
If
they want to kill somebody, they'll find a way.
Exactly it. It's what it's saying, isn't it? It's not the gun that kills somebody, it's the finger on the trigger.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you get caught with a gun, they will kill. Yeah, they will. Yeah, they'll shoot you. Well, look at that guy. Well, I can't remember who it was. Do you remember he was walking home and he had the chair leg in a bag? And somebody phoned up and said he was carrying. This was back in the 90s, 80s, I think.
Not really.
And they said he's carrying something. And the police didn't. They just shot him down, killed him. And then when they went over there, it was a chair leg, and they was getting it fixed or something.
Blimey.
It's about everything, Lorna. They got everything imaginable in there. But I think it's a government front, to be honest. They seem to use it as a hiding stuff in there.
Yeah, they have like everything from all the Apollo space missions to whatever.
I must admit, I'd like the opportunity to visit it because I think it'd be a bloody interesting place to visit.
Yeah.
Because they've got some magnificent stuff in there.
Wow.
But yeah, intriguing. But we've gone down rabbit holes again, haven't we?
Yeah.
They have Fonzie's. Oh, now that's cool. I'd like to see that.
Hey.
Cool. Hey. I saw him the other day. He was in there was a bit on TV about him, and I thought, he's an old boy now, isn't he? He's about 80 odd.
Oh yeah, he's sold.
He's about 80 odd.
Winkler, isn't it? Henry
Winkler. Yeah. I used to love the Fonz back in the day. I was Ralph Mouth when it Potsy.
Yeah.
Oh dear. But yeah, it's amazing. But it's true. And I mean, no matter what you talk about subjects, I've noticed lately they all sort of blend into one, or they all end up going back to the same origin.
And that's why you go down.
All connected.
All connected. It's all connected, isn't it? It's like a spider web. You flick one strand and others go off.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's interesting. So that's and one of the OG Enterprise models. Really?
Yep.
Oh, that'd be cool to see.
Oh.
I'd like to go to what do you call it in America? Is it Epcot, the Space Center?
Yeah.
That'd be cool. That looks so cool. They got like bloody great rocket outside it, haven't they?
Yeah.
Full-size rocket that you can walk along the side of. Imagine seeing that. That'd be phenomenal. That's amazing.
I got to see it when I was younger, so I don't remember much of it, but
yeah, because a lot of kids end up going to the sort of space camp and stuff there, don't they?
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. That'd be cool. We're poor over here. We can't afford a bloody space program.
No.
Well, you can, but
we've got one of them. We've got a rocket that 20 people need to jump on. Stand it up in here. Right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, everybody out there. Thank you ever so much for coming along and joining us this evening. I'm sorry I went on a bit of a rampage.
No.
Yeah.
That's cool.
We've discussed everything basically in an hour.
I know. We always do. But it was just, I hope that, anyway, the Dyatlov Pass, have a look it up if you haven't heard about it.
Yeah.
If you have,
fascinating.
Look into it. It's a fascinating one. It really is a fascinating one.
Yeah.
You probably find out it was the bloody government who killed them all at one point, but who knows?
Noreen,
take it easy. Take it easy, Andy.
Bye.
See you later, Nicola.
And with that, we will say goodbye.
Bye. Bye, guys.